Hi, Matt. My name is Mike Struthers. I'm the CEO of Luca Mining. Luca's a mining company operating in Mexico. We've got an operating mine, which we've had since 2018, but it's been producing since 2009 or so. And we have a second project, which is under construction. We've just announced 500 tons a day at the Tahueto mine. It's a gold mine. And we're now on the path to 1,000 tons a day to double that throughput.
You are. Mike, good to have you back. Good to see you. And you're still there. That's the good news. We saw the headlines. You're doing what you said you were going to do. That's what I'm keen to talk to you about today. I think, if we follow this story from early on, I think the team was kind of struggling to do the things they wanted to do. Headline recently that I'm looking at is obviously that 500 ton per day milestone. Well done. How'd you do it?
Well, the devil's in the detail. We had to make some organizational changes. It's a simplistic example. The construction project was being run by an exploration geologist. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. He was doing his best, but square peg sort of round hole problem. So there were changes like that needed to be made. We brought in some construction management expertise. So you needed that. You needed the right people involved, and then it's attention to detail. It's just getting into the weeds on what is it exactly we're doing, how much is it really going to cost, how long will it take, and just going through those cycles and on a day-to-day basis, just every day follow up. And that's how you get these things done. And that's what we did. I mean, it's you needed to get a real buzz on the site, and there needed to be a real shift change in the focus and the energy at the site, and that's what we got. And probably 3 months ago, we finally got there where there was a real buzz and a lot of activity and people really focused. And that's what you need to get to be able to achieve these things. And so a lot of hard work, but yeah, we got it. I'm very pleased with that.
Okay, so right, you've come in as an engineer and looking at the operation. And this is why I ask companies the question. When you're an explorer and they start talking the game of getting into production, it's not as simple as that. Right people, the right place, the right skill and experience. Okay, so look, obviously you've achieved this, but the job of a CEO is never done. People are now looking towards the next target, 1,000 ton per day, presumably. Have you got the right people? We know you've got some money. You raised some money recently. What's it gonna take, and how long?
We'll hit the 1,000 tons a day by the end of the year, or just before. But I think fundamentally, it's actually the easier of the two steps. Believe it or not, the big win here was to get to 500, because apart from getting all the organizational stuff right and getting people really focused, that doesn't change now. We don't take the foot off the pedal. As far as the guys at the site are concerned, there's sort of achieving 500 is really, that was yesterday. I'm just getting on with today's tasks now. It's a continuity of work and effort. And actually the scope of the 1,000 ton project is, as I say, somewhat simpler than the 500 ton was. A number of elements at the site already at 1,000 ton a day configuration, the flotation, the concentrate, filtering, etc. So there's some ancillary things that will continue finishing off during the course of this year. Tailings construction was a big one. We've finished the first stage, which was an important part of the 500 ton project. We've done that. Tailings construction, though, just continues for the rest of the year, probably with a small delay with rainfall, but otherwise it just goes on. So it's really continuing doing what we were doing. And 1,000 ton scope is, the budget for that is about $8.5 million US. There's a little bit of work in the mine infrastructure, materials handling to do, and other things like a tailings filter press, and obviously a second mill to give us that extra, double that throughput. We've got the mill already, so yeah, pretty comfortable with that. It's just keep going, and we'll definitely get that.
Okay, so everything on surface is kind of gearing up towards that, blending the materials to kind of put through. Are you concerned at all about having enough ore and of the right mix of ore to be able to put through to kind of get the numbers?
No, actually, we've put some effort into that as well. So our plans include all of the capital development we need to get access to different ores. We've got obviously a number of vein systems at the mine, but we're focused on 2 of them at the moment. One of them's higher grade, one of them's sort of average grade, and we're blending. And we have detailed mine plans that show where we're going to be producing from, when, and etc. So so we've got all that ramp up planning done. The access development is being done as we speak to set ourselves up for 1,000 tons a day.
Right, and we shouldn't sort of, skip over the money side of things. It was just shy of 25 million bucks Canadian that you raised in a market like this. Now, I guess a few things working in your favor: high precious metal price environment, and you're a producer. That helps. But what was the money reacting to? The fact that you've been able to fix a few problems, or was it looking to what were you promising about the future?
Bit of both, I guess. I think, it underpins really, I suppose, confidence in the new team and the fact that, although as we closed the placing, we hadn't quite yet then demonstrated that we are doing what we say we're going to do. I think there was confidence that we could do that. So I think it's a belief that finally we'll get this done. And obviously, I spent a lot of time meeting with those investors and things and just providing that confidence. So, and I think the plans, going forward, not being over ambitious, walking through it, do it in a logical step by step. Don't run before you can walk. We did the 500, now we do 1,000, and so do it in a progressive, sensible way. Can sound a bit boring. It's not over promotional, but it gets the job done, and that's exactly what we have to do now because we lost that. The company lost credibility in the market because of over-promising in the past and not delivering. Now our focus is to do exactly the opposite, right? We must do what we say we're going to do.
Right, okay. I mean, someone, I think it was a geologist, said to me, geologists are naturally hopeful, full of optimism about what the ground can give up, whereas engineers tend to be a little bit more conservative. I guess that's what the money needed to hear. But you've got the luxury of reasonable. Well, Campo Morado, you've got a 20-year plus resource there, right? You got 10 years plus reserves at Tahueto as well. So is this really just an engineer's dream of let's make that efficient as possible, let's feed the mill as efficient as possible, or is there still some kind of blue sky explorational component to this, and if so, who's looking to that?
There is some strong upside for both the assets, and that's really, apart from the pleasure of being able to build something again, for me that was one of the factors that enticed me to come on board. It was, I could see there was some strong upside of both of them in different ways. They're obviously Campo Morado and Tahueto are very different types of deposits, right? VMS and epithermal quartz vein. So, different types of upside, but in effect, similar in the way that they've both got some really good targets in the immediate mine area. But also, as you step back and look at the whole of the concession or the license area we have, lots of upside there, which really hasn't been tested much at all. So we've got some money in the budget this year for exploration, and obviously we'll be doing a lot more next year at both the sites. The focus at Tahueto is, because we've got a 10-year mine life, as you said. So you could say, well, we don't really need to do a lot of exploration now. We've got 10 years of life ahead of us at 1,000 tons a day. Well, what I would like to do is look at building out the resource to see then, in terms of a conceptual study about, can we wrap this up? Because I think the right throughput rate for Tahueto is probably about 2,000 tons a day, where the economics would be superb. So the rationale for doing some more drilling at Tahueto is to say, okay, yes, we can see where we can build out the resource. And so we could have 8 or 10 years of 2,000 tons a day rather than 1,000. Now we've got something really, really attractive. So I want to start exploring that in a literal and in a sort of engineering way to see what would be involved and start getting a feel for that. Yeah. So we'll do that. So, yeah.
Okay, and again, you say it's all about the detail. I think what the projects have suffered from, certainly perception, and I think probably a little bit of reality, is recovery rates. This perception that this is tough. It's great for you as an engineer in terms of intellectually stimulating, but in terms of where these efficiencies come from for you are going to be focused, increase the resource and reserves, hopefully, increase from 1,000 to 2,000. Here we are at 500, talking about 2,000. It's great, isn't it? 1,000 to 2,000, getting those recovery rates up and improving the margins involved here. What do you see? What are the other challenges that you see, or opportunities, I should say, that you see?
At Taweto, it's actually not a difficult mine to operate. The problem with Taweto has just been building it, get it built. The mining side of things is straightforward. There's opportunities to use more bulk methods in future, reduce some of the OPEX. The process side of things is straightforward, not difficult. We get decent recoveries. We don't have any sort of deleterious elements and things like that, which we have to manage carefully. So really, Taweto is relatively straightforward. On the upside, as I was saying, is to just look at the expansion. And we have multiple veins where we haven't even got into those yet. Campo Dorado, of course, is a very different fish. It's a VMS deposit. It's ultra-fine grinding. It's got a reputation for being metallurgically challenging, as most of these VMS deposits are. So our focus, we've got consultants on site this week, coincidentally, and we're looking at, and this is part of an ongoing process, to just progressively improve recoveries and concentrate grades, and just so there's a lot of incremental change going on at Campo Dorado. We brought on our third concentrate stream just recently. We're producing now a sort of a bulk silver, lead, copper concentrate, which is commercial grades. So we're doing that was an important development. But we're also looking at some step changes. We announced recently, the pilot scale testing we've done on some Jameson cells as an example. So we're looking at ways of improving both our base metal and precious metal performances at Campo Dorado. But Campo Dorado requires more technical input. It always, those types of deposits always require a higher level of technical management. But we've made some good progress there too, and I think with consultants there this week, we'll see some more development soon too.
Okay, so what's the message to market here? Because you're sitting around a sort of 70 million market cap today as a producer. I mean, we're seeing exploration companies with not as much as you have in the ground get better valuations than this. So clearly, it's come from difficult beginnings. You've been here since September-ish last year, 9 months or so now. Obviously things are starting to move. What is the hope of the board in terms of things that you're going to be able to prove to market about what you now are? You've done the name change. It signals that you want to be seen as someone else and something else. So what is it that we need to think of the company, Luca Mining, Altalay Mining as was?
I mean, one of the interesting things about us is, 2 years ago, our market cap was well over 200 million Canadian. And as you say, we're now fluctuating around the sort of 45 to 50 or so. And there's a story, as I think we touched on before, is what brought us to that point. It's, a Mexican bank that was funding the construction at Taweto, which failed. They also had a large stock position and they were trickle selling. So there was pressure on the stock all of last year, blah, 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 right? So a lot of that has brought us to this point, which really creates the opportunity because, now either one of our assets, and now we're basically talking about two producing mines. Commercial production at Taweto is 1,000 tons a day, end of the year, but we're producing now, right? And we're cash positive at 500 tons a day with current metal pricing. Either one of our assets has got a valuation greater than our current market cap. And when you put the two together, it's substantially great. So, but there's a history and you have to overcome that history, right? By doing what you say you're going to do, by being sensible about it, not over promoting it, but just delivering. And really, I think, that's the theme for this year, right? Is getting that done. Return or build some credibility. This year really is about building that credibility so that people have faith and they can see that we're actually now, a properly run mining company, not something halfway between being an exploration company and a miner or a developer and not really sure, but, clearly a mining company, well run, profitable, two operating mines by the end of the year. And then really this year is about setting ourselves up for a really good 2024, right? Both from a production point of view and then, exploring other opportunities. Organic growth and some, and probably some acquisitions.
Right. Okay. But let's walk before we run, right? So I think,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, I get that 2022 was, well, end of 21, whole of 22, very difficult. This is a reset year.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean nothing's happening. I mean, lots of the good things happening, but you spent a lot of time in your presentation looking to 2024. You're looking to 2024 in terms of output, operations, but most importantly, as all businesses should, operating cash flow and net cash flow. And I'm intrigued at what you do with that, because obviously we've talked in the past, certainly I talked about it with Ralph and obviously you as well, which is like, obviously, yes, those difficult situation with the banking group, and there's trickling selling in the marketplace, but the debt position as well. 2024, you've got to sort the balance sheet out as well, right? So,
well, it made some really good progress there. I mean, I would say 12 or 18 months ago, perhaps, the debt overhang with the company was something in the order of about $50 million. As a result of this financing package now, the private placement and some of the debt conversions that have gone along, in parallel, our debt position now is going to be sitting at around 25 million Canadian. A significant part of that, in the order of about 10 or 11 Canadian, is the residual note that was held by that Mexican bank, which is being disposed of by the liquidator, and we believe it's going to be picked up by a party friendly to the company. So that we can dispense with that, and we'll then be left with only one debt facility to the tune of about 11 US. But I mean, and we're actually looking at debt restructuring opportunities as well there too. So we've made some really good progress on cleaning up the balance sheet. It was another one of these issues with the company historically, so well, think about what was Altalay and think, well, okay, heavy debt position, not delivering when they say, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of things being dealt with in parallel this year to really set ourselves up. And that's why I keep referring to it as the turnaround year, the turnaround story for this year, because you've got to sort all of that out to position yourselves, for the future. And I think we'll have done all of that, or the lion's share of it, by the end of the year.
Right. Okay. No, I hear what you're saying. It's like I say, there's a lot going on, and a lot positive as well. In terms of that allocation of capital, you've talked about some of the blue sky exploration component too, but there's also going to be potentially a feasibility study at Tahuato. Is that
I think
right?
we'll do a sort of scoping level study this year, around with 2,000 tons a day, to get our heads around what would be involved, and that'll set a program then as to how we, advance that initiative for next year.
Okay.
I don't want to distract the team there too much at the moment, because we are focused on 1,000 tons, and it's pivotal to us that we get that done as well. I mean, a good pat on the back for them for doing the 500. It's been a big effort by them, but not lose that focus and get, make sure we keep delivering. So yeah, we'll do that. But at Campo Morado, we're going to be furthering our work on the Jameson cells and looking at how that can give us perhaps a step change in recoveries and con grades there. So two things like that, running both of those while we focus on our Tahuato delivery.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, appreciate you coming on, Mike. I'm glad things are advancing as rapidly as they are and positively as they are. Stay in touch. Let us know how you get on, please.
Yeah, super. Will do. Yeah, thanks very much. Good to speak to you again, Mel.